Good top of the day. It is Saturday, August 20th, 2022 at approximately 3:42 a.m. My time, I don't know about you guys' time, but it's my time. Anywho, excuse me. I'm laying here and I'm just sitting here thinking about my freaking supposed stepmother, Melina Jackson, right? And I'm just remembering like her way and a story like because I was asking her about like her children, which she told me her son's name was Curtis, which I had met, and then Reuben was in prison at the time when my dad was interacting with her towards the time that I was interacting with them in the last final days of my dad's life. But anyway, um, I had asked her why her son was in prison, and she told me that he was in there for murder. Now, with knowing how the whole shaboinkle is going down and has went down with the passing of Bryant Morris, known as Too Sweet, aka supposed to be my father, you know what I mean? This woman, like, her moves, and then I already know how his brothers and them move and shit like that. So, I wouldn't put it past Reuben to have been bribed to take a charge for his mama and my supposed daddy, or however you may have put it together. But something is suspicious around that whole thing. And then knowing how my pop had told me about many things that he was going to leave to me and my cousin. But it's just ironic that, all of these things starting to pop up in my head, and I'm starting to think about certain, situations, like the time when I ran into her on Comstock and she was crying and she asked me, did I hate her? And was I mad at her? And I'm like, at the time, I'm like, you asked me to take care of my dad, booty woo, booty woo. But that was a whole freaking facade because this lady knew that her conscience was eating at her, for what she partook in when it comes to the life of Bryant Morris, his final days, and who was around them when all of this transpired. I know the last day that I physically saw him alive was January 1st. I believe it was 2007. And then I was alerted January 23rd that he was deceased. But I know that on January 1st, he told me what he told me to tell the people at, when his death was. He had Melina, pick out the clothes that he wanted to be, buried in, his casket in or whatever. And they totally went against what my dad said that he had wanted to do. Because I clearly remember him saying to bury him, put him in the casket upside down so that everybody that viewed him could kiss his ass because he knew that they didn't fuck with him to begin with. And I also remember how Annette tried to freaking tell me to get away from his casket. It was just a whole lot of, theatrics and things of that nature. But the truest person that I did see amongst everybody there was my Aunt Lanier. And, yeah. So Melina and Tracy and all of the Cool in the Gang squad, the Kool-Aid crew, all of y'all, Yolanda, Uncle Mike, all of you guys, you all, Uncle Sid, Uncle Carl, if y'all are all aware of these things, definitely Aunt Lonnie. Aunt Lonnie, you the main one. You know what I mean? Especially when you told me the story about how Annette and them made you the person to go and pull the plug on Aunt Lanier when they said that she had the strokes and stuff and the heart attacks back to back. Um, and you cried because you said that Annette put that on you to do or whatever, because y'all knew the whole plight and how Aunt Lanier even wound up in that freaking facility in the first place, and it was all about money, because that's all Annette really operated off of was money. She never really had no heart or any caring bone in her body like that when it comes to like certain situations, and it's evident and prevalent in the things that what I mean we all witnessed and experienced, in our childhoods with y'all, so and the things that was said and spoken and things of that nature. And I can understand, you know what I mean? My dad was 24 and my mom was 14 years old. Come on, man. There's been always a freaking pattern that I can remember, because I had started off with me being 14 and Raheem being 18. That was the first person I ever dated. And then Craig being 24 and I being like 15 or something like that when I freaking started messing around with him and John and all of that whole situation. So, with me being, 41 now and looking back on a lot of things, there's been a lot of, sexual inappropriateness when it comes to the adult child ratio, especially in the foster home that I was in, staying with Gloria Poole, and it's just been a lot of it's just been a lot of things that I, reflect back on or whatever, and the things that people, wanted to cover up, and things that I've witnessed within family, units and stuff like that, and structures, and everybody seemed to, go and put things on paperwork about my mental incapacity, and want to send me away to homes and stuff like that. And then I noticed that it was done with my son as well, with Craig Williams' family and Don Roche and Darren Roche and all of them. And that was the sickest freaking, married couple that I could freaking say that I've encountered in my life. Like one of the sickest married couples. But yeah, you know. Darren's running around fucking with transvestites and shit like that, fucking with prostitutes, and him and Dawn arguing. I remember those days, and I remember having conversations with Dawn when she was fucking pissed off and frustrated or whatever, because she was like one of them narcissistic bullies that fucking just kept everybody all just, fighting amongst one another, and gossipy, and just spitefully just doing certain stuff and signing stuff behind people's back. Like, it was a whole bunch of things that transpired, which my family is well aware of what was going on, mainly my mother and my grandmother, because those were the two key factor females that were, at that time when I was in my youth, that were, supposed over my well-being and care. But then it branched off to like the DIFUS workers, which was Edith Barrera and freaking Louise Hibbler, you know what I mean? And then other branched off avenues of other people deciding that they wanted to call CPS once I started doing things, and branching out, wanting to be on my own. And I remember that experience when I had my son Marquise. So, it's always been a thing of people trying to stop what it was that I was trying to do in my life because of things that they done, like I said, prior to me even being able to get off the porch or whatever. So, you know, it is what it is when it comes to certain things with certain people, and I'm not even be anymore to be trying to, have them in my life when I know that ever since I was a child, certain family members have played certain parts in covering up, the molestation and, the freaking planned kidnapping. I remember when we lived on Heck Avenue, it was this chick named, what the heck was her name? Oh my God. I'm looking right at her face in my mind's eye. But she lived in a back apartment with her mom and them or whatever. And we were coming back from the store on Atkins Avenue, and it was this guy that was in this freaking long type looking car. And he had a bald head with like this like goatee type beard with some dark shades on. Well, this dude pulls up and he was asking for directions to where the beach was or whatever. And so, like, me knowing like how my mom traveled through the town with me and shit, I started telling him or whatever, but then the chick that I was with, she was like, nah, like back up, whatever. But as I'm looking in the car, this man don't have no pants on with a towel over his fucking lap, just stroking his shit or whatever. And that was some weird ass shit. But thing about it is my mom when I was in the house, my mom was in the house and she knew that I was at my neighbor's house, and everywhere that I went I always let my mom know, like, Mom, we're gonna walk to the store, blah blah blah. And she allowed it. So when all of this took place and I went in and told her like what was going on or whatever, like I don't even remember it being taken seriously or talked about or anything like that, but I do know that this man was really trying to freaking kidnap me and the girl that lived next door to us, not unless she was a part of knowing to, you know what I mean, have it done. I really don't know. I really don't even care. I just know that that was like a weird ass experience growing up on Heck Avenue. Um, and then being left at certain people's houses. Like, I used to be left over Miriam's house. Marion, Patrice Belly, and all of them, Danielle Hasty, and all of them, Mom. I used to spend the night over there. And then I used to spend the night over Rudy and Woman and fucking Sweetie and all of them, and Joanne and Little Walter and Pootie. Used to spend the night over there. Like, it was a whole bunch of shit that transpired in that part of my life. I remember even getting busted at Wawa stealing snacks and shit like that with my baby dolls, with my cousin Mila. Yeah. And I remember I got fucked up for it. And I remember Myra bringing me to the house. I think it was Rudy and them house that she had took me to. And I told them what had happened. And I got my ass whooped. But it was the condition of where I was staying at or whatever. I don't know. But I do remember that situation. It's been a many of things that I've been, exposed to in my youth and my childhood or whatever. And I've seen a lot of things with other children in their home as well, you know. But I just don't appreciate how me becoming the woman that I have been becoming has any, pressure or harm come to anyone that feels as though I'm the threat in the situation or I'm the problem, to where they would go to lengths and extremes to say these things, put these things in documentations, saying that I'm an unfit parent. Yes, I can own up and admit to the part where I was out there crazy, ripping and running, getting high. But my heart never changed when it came to my responsibility. That was one of the main things that I asked the universe to help me with healing, so that I could be the best person for myself, for my children. Because that was my passion. That was what the heck I wanted to do. I don't know about what anybody else chose to do with their situation, with their children, whatever they had going on. But what I do know is that I put forth the effort to change my life consciously. So, however anybody else sees me outside of that has nothing to do with me. And, that's neither here nor there. I am grateful and thankful for the opportunity to have a new start in my life, to start over from, all of the things that had ailed me and kept me back from being able to reconnect with my children. But I use every moment of every day to just enjoy the little things, you know, and just be grateful and thankful and humble in the acceptance of knowing that I was given a second chance and that I was able to, do something different. So I take advantage of that in the best way possible and try to help others, do the same. With that being said, I just want everybody to just wake up to understanding that you have to change things within yourself first before you can expect it from anybody else, and not point the finger at everyone, but hold yourself accountable, but do hold others accountable that have wronged you and have misguided you, misjudged you, mistreated you, or did anything that wasn't to your growth and expansion, you know. Forgive yourself for allowing yourself to be put in that predicament, you know, even if you didn't have any control over it, just so that you would be able to know that you are strong once you keep moving forward and accomplishing things that people said that you wouldn't be able to. All you gotta do pretty much is mind your business and do what you need to do for you, and be inspired to take action, to stand up, to have courage, to have faith, to have strength, to speak up and speak out about experiences. You know, I've been thrown off kilter for a lot of years, so there's a lot of things like now that I get a chance to finally be in my own space and reflect back that I remember over the course of my childhood. And a lot of things like, they weren't so spectacular. But at the same time, it's just like those experiences just help to build and mold me, to grow me, to be the strong individual that I am, because I've overcame a lot of things, and everybody thinks it's like, oh, she thinks she's better than and this and that. It's not about that. I have the right to celebrate my own accomplishments within myself because I challenge myself to certain goals that I have been slowly but surely meeting. So to be on someone else's timeline of when someone else thinks that I should be doing this or doing that, no more of that shit right there, because that's what kept me stagnant the majority of my life, based off of trying to please someone else, trying to, be there. And it's not to say that it's a bad thing, that that's just the type of person that I am, but at the same time robbing my own self of my own happiness based off of trying to make sure someone else was happy before I made myself happy. So now that I'm at a point in my life where I choose to make myself happy, all of a sudden it's a problem, it's an issue. Oh my God, she's doing this, she's being mean. When I decide to block someone, it's just like, it's no disrespect to anyone. It's just to keep my own peace of mind and my own sanity so that I can sort things out and that I can put the pieces together to make things make sense for me, because a lot of people choose to want to stay, in some type of old fairy tale made up ass shit, to keep covering up whatever it is that they, initially got themselves into. Me, I'll expose what I've gotten myself into and freely, be able to admit and be vulnerable with not only myself, but with others about, the experiences in my life, since everybody wants to tell my story, but not even have all of the facts about what truly transpired in parts of my life that people weren't even present to, but feel as though they heard about it, or, word of a word, like I said, that fucking grapevine shit be that shit that'll get a person, misconstrued on a lot of things. I choose to now just sit back and observe my own ways and actions and, try to build and better myself. And if I come in contact with those that, if I can feel as though that I can inspire someone and plant a seed, I'll do it. Whether that person goes and uses what I give to them, that's none of my concern anymore. I don't even feel, bad for the choices and decisions that others choose to make for themselves, but then want to pass the buck. Like, if I stand up and be accountable, other people have to do the same, but at the same time, I will be the voice for myself and others that, haven't had a chance to be the voice for their own selves, whether they're here physically or have been passed on, for all of the fucking bullshit that has been done and the lies and the cover-ups and everybody, hating and doing all this other stuff, when we should really be building and unifying without the fakeness, without the phoniness, without the he say, she say, without all of this other bullshit or whatever. Like, I'm just thankful that I was able to survive every last obstacle that has been thrown at me, just so I can have my peace and serenity to be able to continue to, help to heal myself and my children and other people that I'm able to help. You know what I mean? That's the biggest thing for me at this point right now, because we already see it's enough corruption and hate, jealousy, envy, slander. It's just a lot of just unnecessary that's going on in the world, and there's bigger issues that needs to be attended to, but everybody be looking at the surface level bullshit. Anywho, I'm grateful for this day. I'm grateful to be able to be alive, to be able to speak my truth and to tell from my own version of how things have affected myself and my family life. However, anybody else sees it outside of that, that has nothing to do with me. This is my life, it's my story, and I'll speak it however I see fit, because people still want to keep living a lie, especially my family members and friends and even co-workers and exes and everything like that. But I told y'all, the universe, God, source sees all, and I got faith that things is going to continue to get illuminated about everything. I'm more like insulted at the fact that y'all really try to take me and my children out of here for some damn money. That's the biggest slap in the face, man. Anywho, bye.